Osaka, Japan, where it's time now to meet this evening's starting lineups for the opening round ball game in the 1984 Suntory Ball. Wichita State coming into this ball game with a record of 3-4. North Carolina ranked in the top 20, undefeated. They are 5-0 on the year. A 6'5" senior out of Asheville, North Carolina. He'll be starting at one forward for North Carolina. The other forward, number 24, Joe Wolf, 6'10". He's a sophomore out of Kohler, Wisconsin. Brad Doherty, number 42, he's the starting center for the Tar Heels, 6'11", a junior out of Black Mountain, North Carolina. Leads them in scoring at 19.5 points a game. That's Steve Hale, a 6'3" junior out of Jenks, Oklahoma, and a guard, and the other guard, highly regarded, one of the fine young guards of the nation today, Kenny Smith, 6'3", a sophomore out of Queens, New York. He averages 11.5 points a game. Said he really runs that North Carolina offense.
I think that our Wichita State fans are going to see two great guards, Bobby Thompson, Arizona State, exceptional point guard, as well as Kenny Smith.
Now for the Wichita State Shockers, Xavier McDaniel, of course, the 6'7" senior out of Columbia, South Carolina. Wichita State's leading scorer and rebounder coming into the ball game. Here's Gus Santos, 6'7", a sophomore out of New York City, New York. Gus averaging 9 points a ball game. Starting at center tonight for Wichita State, Henry Carr, the 6'9" sophomore out of Wichita Heights High School. And in the backcourt for Wichita State, Jeff Perkins starting again tonight at point guard, 6'3", a freshman out of Fort Worth, Texas. And Aubrey Sherrod, number 22, the 6'4" senior guard, also out of Wichita Heights High School. North Carolina head coach Dean Smith, now in his 24th year, and in his 7th year at Wichita State, Gene Smithson. Those are the lineups, and the coaches will take one more timeout. We're coming back with the opening tip. Stay tuned. The former coach of the Kansas Jayhawks alongside Mark Allen, welcoming you back to Osaka, Japan, where we're just about set to play basketball. Wichita State in the traveling black uniforms. North Carolina has been designated the home team for tonight's ball game, although both clubs most definitely on the road. You see Brad Doherty right there. He'll be jumping center for North Carolina. Wichita State's Xavier McDaniel will oppose him, and we're just about set to go. And you certainly notice the blue floor. I wonder if Dean Smith specially requested that. The opening tip goes to North Carolina. Kenny Smith, and here we go.
Wichita State starting in a man-for-man defense.
And the Shockers forcing the first turnover of the ball game. A nice job to step into the passing lane. Wichita State now on offense for the first time tonight. Inside to McDaniel. He turns, missed the shot. Doherty kept it alive for Buzz Peterson.
Xavier made a good move. He turned squared up. He didn't seem to be bothered at all by the size of North Carolina.
We've got a near capacity crowd of 15,000 here tonight.
They're going to post their two big people, Wolf and Doherty Lowe, all night.
This time, though, it's Buzz Peterson down on the block. It rolls off for him. McDaniel, the defensive rebound and a foul on North Carolina. First one of the night on Brad Doherty.
Well, it was a good block out. Henry Carr came over and helped on Peterson's shot, and Wolf was reaching over Henry Carr. North Carolina's gone to their full court pressure right away. A 2-2-1 containment zone.
Xavier McDaniel, about a 12-footer, too strong off the glass, and Doherty right there for the easy rebound. Still no score. We played a minute.
Xavier's really pumped up for the game. I think the concern you have is he might be trying a little hard on offense right now.
There's the pass down low on the first two of the night. Belongs to Buzz Peterson and the North Carolina Tar Heels. They lead it 2-0. Now the Shocks will try to pull even.
Well, Dean Smith's run that play for many years to Doherty, to Jordan.
Down low again. Shockers really looking for McDaniel here in the early going, and this time it pays off. We're all leaving at 2.
Well, Wichita State going right after them with pressure, and I think it's a good idea. Gene had a little concern before the game. He didn't know how effective it would be against a great guard like Kenny Smith.
Speaking of Kenny Smith, fading away, and he knocks it down. First two of the evening. For the sophomore out of Queens, New York, Tar Heels back in the lead 4-2. We've got an even 18 minutes to play in the first half, just underway. Steve Hale steps in. Kenny Smith, the spin move.
Well, this is what we talked about before the game. Jim Perkins didn't pick up their trap defense right away.
This time it's Aubrey Sherrod taking it upon himself to bring it across. And Henry Carr mishandled the basketball. Another turnover for Wichita State.
Actually, Aubrey threw the ball a little bit low to Henry.
There they get it to Doherty down in the paint. He turns and gets it to go. First two of the night for Brad Doherty. And the Tar Heels opening up a bit of a lead here.
Gene Smithson's concerned. Now they've gone zone. He's changed defenses every time down the court. Jeff Perkins needs to get into the game. Wichita State needs to hang in very close here until they regain their poise.
That is really a good point, Ted. Wichita State is just now finding out for the first time whether or not they can really play with North Carolina. As Aubrey Sherrod spins one in from the outside, first two for Aubrey. Quickly down to the other end, Steve Hale missed the triple, but got his hands back on the basketball. Buzz Peterson leaves it for Brad Doherty, and he walked with the ball, and it'll be shocker ball the other way.
Well, that was a big possession. Wichita State can ill afford. Here comes Steve Hale on penetration. He did move his feet. On his ball fake, he traveled.
Shockers could pull within two of the bucket here. Our score 8-4 North Carolina. Gus Santos.
Well, I'd like to see them get... Well, we talked before. Gus Santos just in the last ball game started to come into his own. In order for Wichita State to be successful this year, they need a real good year out of Gus. Chance to tie this ball game, it would be a great emotional lift to Wichita State if they could score.
North Carolina turning the ball over, so it is a key opportunity for Wichita State.
Steve Smith will trap out of out-of-bounds situations every time.
Aubrey Sherrod leaning in a bit on that shot. Doherty another rebound. Why, Doherty's a force in the middle, isn't he? Takes up a lot of room.
He was amazing in high school, 16-year-old.
Jeff Perkins right there to claim the loose basketball. Pass ahead to Aubrey Sherrod. He'll back it out. Shockers again with an opportunity to tie it up. Jeff will have to hustle. Can't quite get there.
Well, that was an unforced error.
Ted will take a timeout. 15:56 remaining to play in the first half. Our score, North Carolina 8, the Shockers 6. We're back in a minute. Welcoming you back to Osaka. We're underway again. 15:50 remaining to play here in the first half. Tar Heels leading the Shockers early, 8-6. Opening round ball game with the Suntory ball for 1984, and that's an offensive foul on Brad Doherty. And
Two big fouls early in the ball game. Dean Smith runs a fairly good position. It's a call that could have gone either way. But Gene Smith is obviously very happy about the call.
So it'll be Shocker ball.
Well, again, North Carolina will be changing defenses. Jeff Perkins needs to drive up in and then back his dribble if he's uncertain. Don't dribble into the double team.
Henry Carr is a bit of a trouble. Ted, I don't know if you want your center handling the ball that far from the basket.
No, I don't think that Gene Smithson probably wants Henry out there. Jeff Perkins again dribbled in for the double team and picked his dribble up. Can't do that.
Shocks have now turned the ball over 4 times down on the other end.
Hobson, who just came in for Wolf, is an outstanding high school player, very highly sought.
First foul on Henry Carr.
The way you can ill afford to give up second shots. He took a bad shot, didn't have a real good block out. Wichita State going man for man.
Steve Hale tries it from the outside. The left-handed shot no good, but Doherty once again very active down low. Carolina kept it alive, but Wichita State claiming the defensive rebound. Now Aubrey Sherrod, and again, Wichita State can tie. McDaniel, though, down the baseline, no go.
Well, that's the shot you want. In a moment, Xavier needs the ball fake him. He left his feet on the block. He needs to ball fake him and drive to the basket.
Wichita State, again, allowing North Carolina only one shot, maybe you follow.
Well, Wichita State's alive. They're taking the action to North Carolina. They're not backing off.
You know, I'll tell you, it's a funny thing. You take the North Carolinas of the world and you take them to Alaska or Hawaii or Japan. Strange things have been known to happen. Aubrey Sherrod forced that one just a bit. It was partially blocked as well. Steve Hale stripped McDaniel the ball but stepped on the baseline, so it'll be Shocker ball.
Mark, we talked about this before, but you can't let a team's reputation defeat you. And Wichita State certainly is not backing off from the action. I've been very pleased so far how aggressive they are.
Warren Martin is checked into the ball game for North Carolina, number 54. He's a 6'11 center, and Curtis Hunter as well, a 6'4 guard. He'll wear number 43. There's Xavier McDaniel. That'll give him 4 points on the evening. We're all even at 8.
I think they have to go to Xavier as much as they can. He's too quick for North Carolina's big kid. I think in a moment, if he'll ball fake him, he can go by them.
Warren Martin just in the ball game, missed a good shot, fouled it. And that basket should count.
Well, that really hurt. Give him the first shot, but block him off the board. You can ill afford to give up second shot. And the basket did count.
So the first 2 points of the ball game for Warren Martin. The foul was on Jeff Perkins, his first. And here's Warren Martin at the line, trying to complete the three-point opportunity. Cannot. And McDaniel another rebound.
That's a nice luxury to have, to be able to bring Popson and Martin on the pass.
6'10 and 6'11 are the first 2 front liners that Dean Smith can go to on the bench. Shockers keep it.
Now, North Carolina usually will go to a trap defense, and did.
McDaniel again. Just off the mark. Buzz Peterson got down low for a rebound.
I'd like to see Xavier drive to the basket a little bit more. I don't think they're quick enough to handle his drive.
Warren Martin. No bucket.
Doherty jumped over their back and tipping the ball in. The rule on that, Mark, is if they make contact before the ball's tipped and the basket doesn't count. And I believe it was a good call.
Now, Dean Smith has Joe Wolf back in the ball game. There you see Smith a bit concerned, as that is now foul number 3 on his starting center, Brad Doherty. So Doherty's out for the time being. The Shockers really need to take care of the basketball. Those possessions are too precious.
Well, they're playing awfully hard, doing some things very well. They just can't afford to make careless errors.
North Carolina returning the favor, though. Carl Papke is checked in the ball game for the first time for Wichita State.
I'd like to see Xavier driving. Good pass.
Jeff Perkins open for 15, and he nailed it.
Well, credit Xavier McDaniel with an excellent pass. Travel.
Count the bucket, and we've got a foul on Henry Carr.
Well, North Carolina ran a quick break. Wichita State didn't make a good transition from offense to defense.
First 2 points of the evening for Joe Wolf. And that is foul number 2 on Henry Carr as both coaches go into the bench. Flint Normore checks in the ball game for the first time for Wichita State. And number 33, Ranzino Smith, the freshman guard, is in the ball game for North Carolina. There you get a good look at Joe Wolf, the 6'10 sophomore forward out of Kohler, Wisconsin. Only a 56% free throw shooter, but he nailed that one.
Carl Papke should give him a little experience in the lineup, and Flint Normore now coming into the game for the first time.
North Carolina is pulled back out to a 13-10 lead. Henry Carr operating down low. That's one of the best moves I've seen Henry make all year.
Well, he plays with a lot of poise. Marcus Strott gave him an awfully good pass. Just an excellent move, under good control all the time.
Warren Martin. He's played well since coming in the ball game. That'll give him 4 points.
Ranzino Smith playing awfully well.
There was good anticipation. And a steal by Curtis Hunter.
Well, again, they need to stay in this ball game. They can ill afford to let North Carolina move out 7 or 8 points. They're playing man for man out of bounds. might be a little bit of a problem. North Carolina runs some awfully good plays out of bounds plays. North Carolina in their motion, they backpick down low a lot.
The dribble, the drive, and the two.
Curtis Hunter was one of the most sought-after players in the country a couple of years ago. Let's take a look at him. Was injured last year, missed all of last year, has 3 years left in North Carolina.
Back live, and the Shockers turn it over. It'll be Carolina ball when we come back. 11:54 to go for his half. Carolina leads it by 5. Back in a minute. Mark Allen and Ted Owens welcoming you. Shockers turn it over. It'll be Carolina ball when we come back. 11:54 to go for his half. Carolina leads it by 5. Back in a minute. Mark Allen and Ted Owens welcoming you back one more time to Osaka, Japan. Opening round action of the 1984 Suntory Ball. North Carolina leading Wichita State early, 17-12, and really neither team what you'd call passing the ball too crisply in the early going.
Both teams are playing hard. It's an aggressive ball game, but too many turnovers at this point in the game. Now, Clint Normore is going to have to assert himself in this game. Gives him an opportunity against an outstanding team to grow. Again, great move by Henry Carr.
He was hammered pretty good down low. It'll be Henry at the line. Each team has turned the ball over 7 times so far.
North Carolina's big, but they're not terribly quick in the front line, and Henry Carr causes some problems because he has a nice drop step move and he takes it to the basket. This is what I want Xavier. I'd like to see Xavier do a little bit more.
That foul was on Joe Wolf, his first personal foul.
You do them a favor by trying to shoot over them. That works into their strength.
As you look at Gene Smithson, we've got Henry Carr at the line. Looking for his 3rd point of the evening. Henry only a 50% free throw shooter. Missed it there. He gets 2, fouled in the act of shooting. And now the look from up high.
Well, he needs one of them. Didn't get them, though.
Warren Martin, pretty easy rebound. Gets it ahead to Kenny Smith. Steve Hale now. Down low, they kick it back out to Hale. Hale passed up a pretty good shot right there. The ball goes out of bounds.
North Carolina, probably as good as anybody in the country, selects their shots, a high percentage shot. I think one of the great things Dean Smith does is to take high percentage shots.
Gus Santos, Jeff Perkins back in the ballgame for Wichita State. Said that shot selection you were referring to is translated into a team field goal percentage for North Carolina of 58%. First 2 of the night for Dave Thompson, a 6'10 sophomore out of Ashley, Pennsylvania.
Well, he was probably one of the nation's, maybe the top 2 or 3 choices in the country. He was one of them. Going to zone again.
Aubrey Sherrod just short from the outside.
He's going to have to get Xavier involved in the game now. He hasn't been involved in the offense for quite a while.
Dave Thompson just turns and got the right-handed hook shot to go down. That'll give him 4 points. And we've got a timeout on the floor. We'll take it with 10:39 remaining to play in the first half. North Carolina edging away. They lead Wichita State 21-12. We're back in a minute. Stay tuned. Ted Owens welcoming you back to Osaka, Japan. 10:39 remaining to play in the first half. North Carolina leading the Shocks right now 21-12. It's Shocker ball, as you see.
Very big possession for Wichita State.
Aubrey Sherrod had it go through his hands, but it's regained by Perkins. McDaniel hits Santos down low.
Excellent pass. Now Wichita State trying to provide some action.
Oh, tough break, because McDaniel came up with a nice steal, but inadvertently stepped on the sideline right in front of the Carolina bench. Well, this is the Shocker team we saw against Nebraska Omaha.
Well, I think Gene knows that they need to do something to get them playing.
That pass is off the fingertips of Aubrey Sherrod, so North Carolina will keep it. Checking some of the early stats. Wichita State 46% from the field, 59% for North Carolina. keeping right in the way they've been shooting all season long.
Well, the difference is 14-3 in rebounding.
North Carolina holding the edge.
11 possessions for 7 points behind it. That's the determining factor.
A lot of those, though, have come very easily to guys like Doherty and Warren Martin. They're just so big, the ball just seems to naturally come to them. Shockers get it to
They're
McDaniel.
really supporting on McDaniel. I still think if he'll drive to the basket, he can really hurt them. Well, that was a good move, and Gus is the guy you wanted to line here. That was a good point.
First foul of the night on Steve Hale. And it will be Santos at the line. Shooting two, probably, in the act of shooting.
Ordinarily, after a situation like this, look for Dean Smith on the other end of the court to backdoor. They'll try to backdoor Wichita State. Anytime after a timeout or there's a little lull in the action, they'll go down and try to run a backdoor play.
Gus will get another one. Still looking for his 5th point of the night. He's a 76% free throw shooter.
Well, you have to take advantage of these opportunities. North Carolina is too good not to take advantage of every possible chance.
You can hear the Shocker fight song being played in the background. I guess the Japanese, they mean well. When Wichita State is at the line, the band just keeps right on playing.
Well, it's a pretty spirited crowd. 15,000 here to see a basketball game. Basketball's not a big thing in Japan.
Well, you wouldn't know it from the crowd here tonight, and it's interesting, they've split the arena in half. They've given half of the people gold pom-poms, the other half blue pom-poms, so they're each rooting for their designated team. Warren Martin outside, just missed it. Aubrey Sherrod lost the ball to Hale, but it's out of bounds, and it'll be Shocker ball.
Well, this is a big possession. Look for North Carolina State to be in their 2-3, and if you go to the corner with them, they'll trap in the corner. You have to keep the ball out of the corner on them. They'll trap down.
Just inside the 9-minute mark here in the first half.
This is a chance to regain your poise here. North Carolina State's gone to zone. They can be as patient as they want to be.
Tar Heels lead it by 6. And Gus Santos on the follow. Had a good opportunity. And now we've got a foul on Xavier McDaniel, I do believe, as we get Buzz Peterson back in the ballgame for North Carolina.
Well, I think Xavier's a little frustrated. He had the shot that he wanted. Sometimes when you make the first mistake, though, don't let it lead you to a second mistake. Although he's not in any foul trouble right now.
Only his first. And on the non-shooting foul, Carolina inbounding. Shockers applying that backcourt pressure again.
Well, Xavier McDaniel's about as good a man as you can have back there, putting pressure on the ball.
Kenny Smith kicked it back out to Steve Hale. First two of the night for the junior out of Jenks, Oklahoma.
The problem in full court pressuring is that you have to regroup quickly. And Wichita State didn't regroup too fast. Great pass by Papke.
Couple of great passes. Aubrey Sherrod now with 4 points. Again, it's Kenny Smith.
Well, you can't let the ball come in the middle of the court against pressure. Smith's one of the finest ball handlers in basketball. Have to keep the ball out of the middle.
Big Joe Wolf took it right inside and drew the foul.
Well, he made it. Watch his drop step move. Probably traveled. But he did make a fine move. Bert gave him a ball fake, drop step.
First foul on Carl Papke. And at the line, you're looking at Joe Wolf. He'll be looking for his 4th point tonight.
Well, Dean Smith has an excellent basketball team, and they're a very young team. He's had some terrific players. You look at their press guy, it's unbelievable how many great All-American NBA stars that they've had. And he's an excellent fundamental teacher. They don't do anything fancy. They're just a good, solid, basic basketball team.
Henry Carr, right? Henry Carr back in the ball game for Wichita State. Wolf will get another here. Talking about Dean Smith, it all started in Emporia, Kansas. He was born in
Emporia, Kansas, had a very fine career on a couple of University of Kansas great teams in 52, 53. went on to an exceptional coaching career. And he's handled it very well.
Again, North Carolina pressuring on the ball. Jeff Perkins, a nice job.
Well, it's good that he didn't feel sorry for himself. He went right back into the action. He dribbled up in the trap, which he should not have done. He needs to dribble up in the trap and back his dribble up, suck his dribble up, and make a quick pass. Look for the back door.
There it is. Hobson on the turn. He hit it last time, but not this time. And Gus Santos.
Well, Wichita's taking a real beating on the backboard. They're going to have to do a better job blocking out. They're not going to out-jump them.
That's a foul on Hobson. First personal on him. And that is now team foul number 6 on North Carolina. So one more will put the Shockers in the bonus. Wichita State has committed 5 team fouls to this point.
Well, Gene Smith is concerned with an 8-point deficit right now. Every possession is a big one right now. North Carolina will trap on every out-of-bounds play, and you cannot throw the ball into the trap area. If you do, you have to move it quickly.
Shockers have now turned it over 10 times. They paid the price that time. Carl Papke and Jeff Perkins just couldn't make the connection. So now Carolina with a chance to extend their lead to 10. They lead it right now, 25-17. They tried to loop it inside. McDaniel stepped in, took it away. X will handle all the way. He was stripped of the ball. Saves it in the corner.
Good poise.
Papke the baseline drive. Now he gets the double team. Henry Carr just barely able to keep it for Wichita
Henry
State.
did a good job recovering that ball. Carl dribbled himself into the trap area. You drive baseline on North Carolina, they'll trap you there.
McDaniel the miss outside. Ball loose on the floor. Kenny Smith claims it. 2-on-1 break, Carolina. Kenny Smith blocked by Gus Santos, but it'll be Tar Heel ball.
Wichita State must do a better job at making the transition back to defense. Let's watch Gus. Smith gave him a little change of pace. Did a great job at blocking and not fouling.
Aubrey Sherrod is back in the ball game for Wichita State, and Big Warren Martin is also back in for North Carolina. It'll be Tar Heel ball. We've got 6:28 still to go here in the first half.
Well, Gene's going with a veteran team. He figures that Carl Papke and Aubrey Sherrod probably won't dribble into the trap area and get themselves in a position that his young guards have done.
Joe Wolf, pretty good shooting touch for a 6'10 player. He shoots 59% on the year. Knocked that one down. He's got 7 points. And the Carolina lead is now 10, 27-17.
Well, I think this is probably a good move by Gene to get a more experienced team in the lineup.
They left Sherrod wide open in the left corner, and he made him pay.
They can't afford to do that.
There's a look at the scoreboard. Aubrey now with 6 points on the night.
I think North Carolina's strategy was to get ahead and play as much zone as they can. They'll trap out of that zone to create a little bit of action.
Trying to get it down low to Joe Wolf. But North Carolina turns it over.
Well, they've turned it over about as much as Wichita State in this ball game. And they have all year. And we have Carl going to the line now. And he's a good guy to have at the line with the 1-and-1.
That foul on Curtis Hunter was his first. More importantly, team foul number 7 on the Tar Heels. So as Sid Owens mentioned, it'll be Papke at the line with the 1 in the bonus. Kyle trying to track into the scoring column, yet to score tonight, and only a 46% free throw shooter this season.
Gene Smith has a big decision to make. His teams ordinarily play better when they pressure, but North Carolina has done a fairly good job of getting the ball down against the pressure.
Carl too long all the way.
Well, he let the ball slip right off his fingertips. Shot it right off the heel of his hand.
Watch Carolina this time down low. Their big man really sets the pick. Hobson, kind of a wild left-hander, no good. Outlet pass Carl Papke. Lucky to get that pass to Sherrod. He hangs in the air. Gus in the paint. Forced it from 10. Got it to go. Not a good shot.
Not a very good shot, but it went in.
Good first half for Gus Santos. He's got 7 points already. Averages 9 a game.
Carl is not as fast as Peterson. Has to give him more ground, and he cannot reach in and foul. Carl's trying to be something that he's not. He's not quick action, but he is big, Most important thing, player, you know, is to play within your own strength. Backdoor.
Boy, just like you draw it up on the chalkboard. Wonderfully executed play by the Tar Heels. Steve Hale now with 4 points.
Watch the backdoor, step him out. One of Dean Smith's favorite plays. Nearly always runs that after a timeout or an out-of-bounds situation.
Aubrey got it inside. Henry Carr stripped to the ball. It'll be Shocker ball.
But Henry's doing what he needs to. As I've said, North Carolina's big, but they're not terribly quick in there. Watch his penetration. He can go right around them. The key to it is to maintain poise, control.
Joe Wolf is back in the ballgame for North Carolina. That was Warren Martin anticipating that pass nicely, but Xavier McDaniel regained it. Here's Santos left baseline. Air ball, and Peterson gets it off the floor.
Gus has 2 shots. He shoots that one a little bit flat. Doesn't extend himself too much. He can be a good shooter if he'll extend his arm a little bit more.
All kinds of contact there. The foul will be on Wichita State. Well, a little screen. I think maybe Gus Santos. Here you look at it again.
Well, this is probably the most critical point in the game. They're 8 down. Wichita State's 8 down. North Carolina has a chance to go up by 10. And they'll come out with some sort of full court pressure. 4 minutes to go in the half. You just can't let them get away from you right now.
That's Curtis Hunter at the line, a 75% free throw shooter, now with 3 points on the evening, and the foul was indeed on Gus Santos, his first.
Curtis Hunter, one of the very best athletes in the country when he came out of high school.
And that'll give him 4 points. He just had some bad luck coming out of high school. He's had a foot injury that just won't go away, and it's really slowed his progress.
No, when he came out, he was one of the most sought players that particular year.
Dean Smith does get his share, doesn't he, Ted?
Yes. He has
Gus blocked inside.
He's done a great job, and he's in a highly populated area. North Carolina is the 10th most populated state in the country.
Ted will be back in a minute. 3:49 yet to go here in the first half, and as you look at it again, our score, North Carolina 31, Wichita State 21. Back in a minute. The 1984 Suntory ball. Mark Allen and Ted Owens back with you in Osaka. The last foul was on Carl Papke, his third. That's Kenny Smith. What a great young player he is. A 71% free throw shooter.
Well, North Carolina maybe had the most talented team that ever had last year, but toward the end of the season, Kenny Smith hurt his hand, and he played with it in a cast, and he never really became the kind of player toward the end of the year that he had been before. And I think that probably might have cost North Carolina a great chance at a national championship.
He actually missed 8 games right down the stretch of the season. Down the other end, Henry Carr, yes, count the bucket, he'll be at the line.
Jeff Perkins backed himself out of trouble. Goes into Auburn. What's this pass for Auburn, Sherrod? And Henry Carr stayed in tough with it. Has a chance for a 3-point basket.
First foul on Warren Martin. I'll say this about Henry. He hasn't backed down one bit from these Carolina big guys.
No, and he's playing them the way he should. He's taking it to the hole. Missed free throws have really hurt Wichita State this year. Wichita State could be undefeated at this point in the season with normal free throw shooting in the 70% range.
Black ball! Carolina turning it over once again, so it'll be shocker ball.
North Carolina's turned the ball over 11 times in the ball game. Part of that, Wichita State's played a very aggressive defense. Well, again, they're in the zone. Now, if you get it in the corner, they'll trap you.
Aubrey Sherrod open in the left corner. Just off the mark, but Aubrey right there to regain the loose one.
Gus Santos kept the ball alive. Very big possession here. Have to try to get Xavier involved in the game. Zone takes him out of
for him off the opening tip, but not so much lately. Aubrey nailed it to the top of the key. He's got 8 points. Inbound, Kenny Smith. Tried addition on the left wing. Buzz Peterson's taken, but Aubrey Sherrod came up with it. Aubrey on the drive. Peterson's okay.
Jeff Perkins has to learn this as young players, not getting back on defense fast enough, and that will kill him.
Foul on Joe Wolf, his second over the back.
Well, North Carolina has given Wichita State enough opportunities to stay in the game, but they must hit their free throws. In a big game against a great opponent like this, you have to, when you go to the line, you have to take full advantage of it.
There's a look at Dean Smith.
Well, quite a success story.
Oh, his biography is just unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell
really, not to sell this guy short.
Let's don't. This guy's had quite a record, too, Gene Smithson.
And Gene Smithson and Dean Smith, well, we've got McDaniel at the line, missing the front end of a 1-and-1, but in the 2 coaches we have here tonight, they both rank in the top 10 among active coaches in winning percentage. Nice shot off the board for Joe Wolf. That gives him 9 points. Dean Smith ranks number 3 in winning percentage. Gene, of course, number 10.
Well, Wolf used the glass very well. Nice angle shot off the glass.
Back to live action now. Shockers continue to trail it by 9, 34-25. Aubrey Sherrod, the 15-footer, halfway down and came out.
Wichita State has to run back on defense against North Carolina.
Kenny Smith, about a 17-footer, up and over the top. So it'll be Shocker ball. Only a minute 35 seconds still to play here in the first half. Warren Martin checking back in the ball game for the Tar Heels.
Well, if the fans back in Wichita will notice they're not playing a 45-second clock tonight, and it wouldn't be a factor in this game because neither one's held it that long anyway.
I'll tell you, though, when it might be a factor, if Carolina continues to lead the ball game, we know all about Dean Smith and that 4 corners of his. Henry, again, down low. That is exactly what he has to do. The foul is on Popson, his second.
Henry Clark's about as good as anyone I know in drawing fouls. He takes it to the action. He doesn't avoid the contact. He takes it to the contact. But he has to convert right here.
That's what I was going to say. It's one and then the other. This is the end that Henry really has to work on. He does a nice job of getting himself to the line.
Wichita State 1 for 7 at the line tonight. 1 for 8. You know, that is discouraging probably to Gene Smithson, that he can see that they could be very much in the game just simply by hitting free throws.
Henry got the second one to go down. That'll give him 5 points. Of the 4 Shocker losses, 3 of them have come by a total of 7 points. Wichita State is really not that far away, and Smith's free throws and little things have been the difference. Dave Thompson with the first jam of the evening, and that draws quite a reaction from the crowd here in Osaka.
Well, it's a great athletic move. But the key to it was they looked down. As soon as they came out of the trap, they looked under right away. Very big possession. Wichita State's played with a great deal of poise when they've been behind.
Counting down here in the first half. 33 seconds and counting.
Team on the last shot.
Doesn't want to go in the locker room down by any more than 10, and would certainly prefer 8.
Wants to regroup a little bit.
Uh-oh. Turned it over to Kenny Smith. Missed the layup, though, and Xavier McDaniel with the rebound. We get a foul, stopping the clock with 15 seconds remaining to play here in the first half. It'll be Wichita State at the line with the one in the bonus.
No, it's North Carolina.
North Carolina, I'm sorry.
Foul was on Perkins.
His second.
Let me mention something here which is really important for all young players. Anytime you get into a trap, don't take the ball high over your heads. You have to freeze the defense low. If you get caught in a trap, take the ball low and make the defense come down to you.
Buzz Peterson back in the ball game for North Carolina. He'll replace Thompson. Steve Hale will get the second free throw here shortly. Ted, he has yet to miss a free throw this season. He's 10 of 10 right now.
Well, he had a great career in Jenks High School near Tulsa, Oklahoma. His dad was the coach at Oral Roberts for a number of years, very successful coach.
Jerry Hale. And Steve Hale. Now 11 of 11 from the line. He's got 6 points on this evening.
Well, North Carolina pressuring down the court. They're trying to use up the clock.
Wichita State not playing well here in the last minute and a half, and it's really hurt them. Kenny Smith converts on the turnover. 2 seconds, 1 second, and that's it. Turnover really hurting Wichita State down the stretch here. It is halftime in Osaka. Our score, North Carolina 40, Wichita State 26. We'll take this time out. We'll be back to talk it over, and we'll have several halftime features as well, so stay tuned. Why? There are many, but let's talk about the most important ones. North Carolina, a very good basketball team, number one, but beyond that, you can get into things like Xavier McDaniel, only 4 points in the first half. And rebound-wise, I think it's been a big factor.
Well, I think you have 3 basic problems. It's 22-13 in rebounding. North Carolina has 9 more possessions of the ball as a result of rebounding. And that's the difference in the ball game right now. If possession of the ball on a national average is worth 1 point, that could be the difference. The other thing is the old bugaboo that has been faced by Wichita State all year, free throwing. 2 for 9 at the free throw line, plus 2 or 3 opportunities that they missed the front end of a 1-and-1. And the other thing, that our worst fears were realized in the game in that Wichita State's inexperienced guards are dribbling up into the traps and picking up in the traps. When I play North Carolina, I know they're going to trap you. I always wanted to let them make their punch and then counter punch. In other words, dribble up close to their trap and back to dribble up and leave them in no man's land, and then get the ball down the court ahead of their trap with quick movement of the ball. But it's one thing to say that, but when you have inexperienced guards, it's a little difficult to do that.
And North Carolina, of course, is one of the very best teams in the country at playing with a lead. So it's going to be very difficult for Wichita State to get back into this ball game, needless to say. But we'll see what happens. Still 20 minutes to go. Again, our halftime score, North Carolina leading Wichita State 40-26. Back with more halftime in a minute. Leads Wichita State here at the half, 40-26. As Larry Hatterberg and I have been reporting back to you all week, it was quite an adventure earlier this week just getting here to Japan. Well, let me tell you, it's just as much an adventure to get this ball game back to you in Wichita. And for more on that, here's Larry.
It all starts here in the Kaso Quadrocentennial Arena in Osaka, Japan. The game is being televised by the Nippon Television Network. They're providing the technical crew and giving us a video feed from their cameras. Then Cake's sports director, Mark Allen, and color commentator Ted Owens are using a separate audio hookup to provide the narration for the game. Otherwise, you'd be hearing the play-by-play in Japanese. I'm videotaping the open, the halftime, and the close of the game, and that will be edited into the show later. The game is seen live here in Japan, but not in Wichita. The reason is simple. Even the most die-hard Wichita State fan probably doesn't want to get up at 4 in the morning to watch basketball. The second reason is for technical consideration. To do a multilingual satellite feed out of Japan was discouraged by the Japanese because of the complexity involved. So we are tape delaying the game to this more reasonable time. But now the logistics for getting this video to you have just begun. Immediately after the game is played in Osaka, the tapes are put on an airliner bound for Tokyo. In Tokyo, those same tapes are now hand-carried to a Japanese Airlines cargo flight bound for Los Angeles. Now remember, while the plane is in flight, it crosses the international date line, so we actually gain a day in the shipping process. In Los Angeles, the tapes are taken to a company called Netcom. It's here that they really start to move. Netcom places those game tapes on their playback machines, which are then hooked to a satellite uplink. As they play back the video, it goes from Los Angeles to the Telstar communications satellite somewhere over the equator. From Telstar, it comes down to our receiving dish here at the Cake Studios. Now, once the game arrives back at Cake, it's in what we call raw form. So now the real work begins. Producers, directors, and editors begin the job of making it presentable by adding graphics to the game, such as the score and the statistics. Then come the titles and the credits. The open of the show must then be edited together, commercial breaks inserted, and the show timed so that the rest of our programming is not affected. And the catch is, they only have a couple of hours to do it all. As a matter of fact, as you're watching this story, the second half of the game is still being worked on by the editors and producers. But somehow it all comes together, and all you, the viewer, had to do was to turn on your TV set. From Osaka, Japan, this is Larry Hatterberg.
Hospital room mock-up gives nursing students a chance to develop a comfortable bedside manner. The new Heskett Center is a vast laboratory for physical education majors and instructors, as well as a recreational facility for the campus. Students in foreign languages can hear tapes and see commercial television programs received via satellite in this well-equipped language lab. Television students find the production studio a necessary part of their program for that all-important hands-on experience. The wind tunnel helps engineering students put their aerodynamic theories to the test. This expanding microcomputer lab allows accounting majors to learn auditing and applications in accounting systems. Studio arts majors can use the metal foundry to create metal sculpture. Even the campus itself, with its tree-lined walks, varied architecture, and outdoor sculpture collection, provides an atmosphere for learning. Educating students is the university's main business, but excellent facilities like those at Wichita State enrich those educational experiences. WSU, where learning is a lifelong pursuit.
Mark Allen, Ted Owens, welcoming you back to Osaka, Japan. Again, our halftime score. The Tar Heels of North Carolina leading Wichita State 40-26. Ted, let's go right to the official halftime statistics. North Carolina holding the advantage in most of the categories, as you might imagine, beginning first with field goal percentage, 48 down to 41.
Well, they're getting awfully good shots. One of the things Wichita State's going to have to do is do a better job getting back on defense. I always felt if you played a great fast break team like North Carolina that you didn't jump over 2 or 3 people on the offensive board and be sure that you have at least 2 people back to defend against their break. A few times, Jeff Perkins was caught underneath the basket and didn't get back on defense, and as a result, North Carolina was able to get some layups.
And then running down the other categories, as Ted mentioned earlier, free throws a big key again for Wichita State in a negative way, only 2 of 9. Carolina, they've pretty much cashed in 8 of 10. The rebound advantage, of course, North Carolina with a substantial height advantage, and they have used that to take a 24-16 edge in that category. And turnover-wise, 11 for the Shocks, 13 for North Carolina. Neither team has really taken care of the basketball. Checking some of the individual scoring, very good balance for North Carolina. They're led by Joe Wolf, 9 points. Kenny Smith with 7, Steve Hale and Dave Popson with 6 apiece. Wichita State being led here at the half by Aubrey Sherrod. He has 8. Gus Santos, 7. Henry Carr with 5. And very important again, Xavier McDaniel, 4 points and only 4 rebounds in the first half. Ted, another interesting point, and one you picked up on bench scoring.
Well, North Carolina scored 14 more points off the bench than Wichita State. Wichita State has not scored off the bench, and that's the difference in the ball game, 40-26, a 14-point game. And that the edge is just simply in the very fine bench for North Carolina. Curtis Hunter, Dean has in Curtis Hunter an exceptional guard who's been hurt, as you mentioned before. And in Hunter and Warren Martin and in Popson, they have just 3 outstanding players to come in the game.
All right, 20 minutes in the books, 20 minutes yet to go. Again, our halftime score, North Carolina 40, Wichita State 26. The second half is coming up next. Stay tuned. Again in Osaka, where we're just about set to go with second half action. One last time, the halftime score, Tar Heels 40, Shockers 26. We'll remind you at this point, later on in the second half, we'll be selecting our Big Cheese Pizza Player of the Game, so keep that in mind. Ted, also, we haven't mentioned at this point the 3 officials working the ball game. They are not Japanese officials. They are U.S. officials, and each of the 3 teams in the tournament has brought along 1 man from their respective conference. John DeBrow, representing the Missouri Valley, working the ball game tonight, in addition to Joe Forty of the ACC and Jerry White of the Pac-10.
I think overall they've done a good job in this game. The three-man officiating crews, their mechanics are pretty much the same, and so they can pick up on it and work pretty well as a crew.
Instead, you pointed out in the first half, Gene Smithson tended to go with his veterans. He has done that here to begin play in the second half. Carl Papke is in the ball game. Jeff Perkins is not.
Carl's big enough to see over their trap. When he gets into the trap, they really can't bother him too much. Watch Henry take it to the hoop.
Brad Doherty there. Again, he's playing with 3 fouls. We didn't see much of him in the first half, but he makes his presence felt very early here in the second half.
Well, they have such a strong bench that it really didn't affect them that much, although Doherty's is potentially an excellent basketball player. Watch the back door. Watch the back door right here. They tried it.
Carl picked it up, though, defended it very well. Here's Doherty outside, Henry on him.
Now, Carl needs to give a little ground. He has 3 fouls.
Buzz Peterson, good all the way. Good extension, good follow-through. He's got 4 points.
Well, Wichita State dropped in and supported on Doherty, and he did what a good pivot man does. He kicked it right back out to the open man. Again, North Carolina going quickly to the trap.
Carl Papke lost his footing in the basketball as well. 3-on-2 break, Steve Hale. Hale now with 8 points. This is not the kind of start you want to get off to in the second half if you're Wichita State.
Yeah, they have to regain their composure here right away. North Carolina has done a good job of changing their defense. Good job by Carr.
Henry right to the hole, and he was Johnny on the spot to get the offensive rebound. 7 points for Henry Carr.
Well, Henry has not played afraid in this ball game. He's taken the action to him. I've been very pleased with his play overall.
Well, he saw the opening in the lane, and he just really went for it. Yeah, he see Gene Smithson calling promotion in the offense.
Well, again, he's trying to create some problems for North Carolina. Gene's taking a chance now, but when you're 16 down, you have to take some chances.
Buzz Peterson dribbles to within 10. 6 points, Buzz Peterson. Nobody picked him up.
Well, I mentioned this earlier. It's one thing to pressure down the court, but you have to regroup yourself into your basic defense. Good boys. North Carolina going all-out trapping in their zone.
Carl Papke.
Now they're going back to man-to-man.
Bounce pass down low to Henry Carr. Henry puts it on the floor, hangs in the air, missed it badly. But again, right there, aggressively to get the loose ball. McDaniel down on the block, turns, couldn't get it fading away. Henry Carr, though, again, right there.
Gus Santos kept it alive.
And Gus again got a hand on it. Now Shockers double team on the ball, and North Carolina will safely bring it across in the person of Kenny Smith. Now he'll back it up.
Kenny made a very smart move, pulled it out to the side.
Joe Wolf.
Good block out by Henry Carr. Excellent block out.
Well, Wichita State must block out to survive on the backboard because they simply can't match up height-wise. McDaniel, not one of his better outings, missing again.
Well, I think that Xavier he's so quick he could cause him trouble if he drove a little bit more. All his shots are outside shots.
Charge. Offensive foul, Joe Wolf, that's his third.
John DeBrow right on top of the play. Xavier McDaniel had good position. Let's take a look. Moved his feet well. Very good call. DeBrow right on top of the play.
And now back live.
He wants a timeout. He's quite concerned about this game getting out of hand.
And, well, he should be. 16:34, a minute to play here in the second half. Carolina leads it big, 46-28. We're back in a minute. Stay tuned. Back with you in Osaka. You can see the blue basketball floor, or you could there for a moment, and it's been pretty much blue throughout the ball game to this point. Carolina leading the Wichita State Shockers 46-28. Carolina, for the most part, except for the turnovers, playing the kind of basketball that has gained them the kind of success they've had recently. Over the last 18 years, Ted, they've been the winningest college basketball team in America, winning 81% of their games. They've gone to the Final Four 7 times during that same period. They've been to the NCAA tourney 10 straight years. That's tough.
Well, they have 4 players that have started at one time or another. Should be a basket right there. North Carolina went to their trap out of bounds. Wichita State kept their composure and moved the ball quickly and found Aubrey open.
First 2 of the second half for Aubrey. Gets him into double figures now with 10 points. Down low, Brad Doherty. He really hasn't been much of a factor, mostly because of foul trouble. There's McDaniel. Still can't buy a bucket. Henry Carr, is it off him? It is.
Well, he shot the ball with no confidence then. He didn't extend, didn't flip the ball, sort of aimed the ball that time. He needs to get a couple of baskets down to help Wichita State get back in this ball game. Good pressure by Aubrey Sherrod.
Ted, you mentioned off the top of the show how you felt X was really ready to play. Is it possible he was too ready?
I think he knows this is a big game. He's playing against one of the best teams in the country and some of the best players. And he might be just trying a little hard.
Joe Wolf now with 11 points, just to follow up on the point of McDaniel. He's 2 of 11 from the field. And the trap this time works to the advantage of Wichita State as we get a foul on Steve Hale. That's his second personal foul.
Again, Carl Papke's size in the trap is most helpful. He can take the ball up above the trap, whereas Perkins is so short that he can't do that. Jeff Perkins, when he gets in the trap, needs to take him down low. Very nice pass.
Carl Papke, the bounce pass to Henry Carr down low. Henry's got 9 points. He averages 5 a game.
Well, that's the kind of performance that we need out of Wichita State's Carl Papke. He's a veteran in a ball game like this. He has to take charge.
Buzz Peterson now dribbles it out to the point. Carolina resetting the offense.
Watch the back door on the other side.
Carolina playing very patient with that 16-point lead. 14:42 and counting to play here in the second half.
Well, they just will not take a bad shot.
Good pass down low to Doherty. Tough luck, though, as the ball came out on him. McDaniel, the rebound. Outlet pass. Aubrey Sherrod at half court. Now he'll back it out.
Good judgment by Aubrey. Didn't have an advantage.
Papke hung in the air. Squared up and nailed it. First 2 of the night for Carl. And again, we've got a timeout. It comes with 14-11. Remaining to play here in the second half. North Carolina continues to lead it by 14. Back in a minute. Welcome back to the Caso Quadricentennial Arena. That's a mouthful. That's not exactly Henry Levitt, is it? In Osaka, Japan.
Well, it's been quite an experience since we've been in Japan. You know, we can learn a lot from the Japanese people. They're about the most courteous people I've ever been. These cities are just extremely clean. They've packed 130 million people into a state the size of Montana.
Osaka.
Well, let's get back to the game.
We should. Aubrey Sherrod bringing our attention back to basketball. Nails it from the left baseline. He's got 12 points. And the Shockers trapping on defense. And Gene Smith, and that's the way I like it. It's a jump ball situation, so we'll see which way the alternate possession goes. Looks like it'll be Carolina ball. There's a good look at Gene.
Well, he can't be unhappy with the effort that he's had in the second half. They haven't closed the gap except maybe to 12 here when they're 14 down, but the effort's been excellent. The competitiveness, and that's what you build a team on.
Contact and a foul down low.
Xavier letting the big guy shape up very low on him. I think he's going to have to extend and play next to receiver pressure on him. He's not denying the ball down low.
Second foul on X.
Their big guys haven't shot the ball in down low, but they will. I think if they continue to let them have that kind of a shot.
Steve Hale Baseline jumper, no good. The tip, no good for Popson, who's back in the ball game. Now the Shocks will hustle it up the floor. Bounce pass. McDaniel draws a crowd.
North Carolina going man for man. Good, Carl.
Good. Papke, couple of ball fakes.
Well, this is what he's doing so much better than he did early in the year. He's ball faking and he's not leaning into the play, but he's going straight up. Watch it. Excellent balance. This is the Carl Papke that we've wanted to see here in the first half of the year.
North Carolina standing around just a bit now. Now Wichita State has pulled to within 10.
Well, the momentum's definitely shifted to Wichita State here. They've closed the gap to at least 10 here. Well, the next 3 or 4 minutes could make a big difference in this ball game.
Right now, 13-17 remaining to play in the second half. Let's see if the Shocks can put something together here. Kenny Smith races it up the floor. Joe Wolf, right baseline. That's an answer. He's got 13.
Well, you can't let Smith get the ball in an open court situation. There'll be few people in the country do it as well as he does. North Carolina going to zone. They left the wrong guy open.
Xavier McDaniel. First 2 of the second half, but that's only 6 points tonight for him.
Well, but the good thing about X is he doesn't let that affect the rest of his game when he's not shooting the ball. He's kept his spirits alive.
Charge. Offensive foul, and a good call. Dave Popson, that's his 3rd foul, and that's one of those no doubt about it. He lowered the shoulder and initiated the contact.
Yeah, Xavier had excellent position. Xavier's limping a little bit. Let's hope that it's not a very serious injury.
Trying to work out a kink in his leg, but so far remaining in the basketball game.
North Carolina going in the second half with 3 big people in the lineup.
There you see Gene Smithson up off the bench as he has been throughout the ball game, directing his troops.
They're in their 1-3-1 zone, and they play it very well.
Aubrey Sherrod just spun out. Henry Carr, battling down low, was fouled on the play. I believe it's on Dave Popson. Said if so, that'll be his 4th foul. Here it is again.
Henry tried to hurry it a little bit too much. Now he has to make them pay for that. You just have to make people pay for fouling you.
That was foul number 4 on Dave Popson, so he checked out of the ball game. Buzz Peterson is back in.
Well, psychologically, you can get, you know, when you're 10 ahead, that seems like a whole lot, but 8 doesn't seem like that much. You can just break through this barrier here. Henry can just get a couple of them down.
Henry can go to double figures.
I thought he flipped it good. I didn't see anything wrong with this extension.
Foul in the act of shooting, he'll get another.
Well, Gene Smithson's fired up. P.S. the team is playing awfully hard right now, but that really hurts to have a chance to cut it to 8.
A couple of big misses there. Warren Martin, the big man down low, and here's Henry Carr, lays the body on him. 3rd foul on Henry.
Well, Henry has to deny position that low. You just can't let the guy catch the ball 6 feet from the basket.
And a good ball fake there by Warren Martin.
He showed him the ball, moved it away, and caused Henry to foul.
We talked about Curtis Hunter's injury problems that have hampered him throughout his career. This guy, Warren Martin, has also had his problems. He was a redshirt last year because of foot and leg injuries, but playing well tonight, he's got 5 points.
Well, Martin and Hunter and people like that have played against some great players in the North Carolina system. They may not have had that much playing time, but they've played against great competition every day. They're in their zone, and they'll be trapping out of it.
And looks like a reach-in foul on Warren Martin.
Well, what I like Carl Papke did, Carl threw it under, what you throw it under the zone. When you have all that size, if you keep the ball down low, that's a lot more difficult for the defense to handle.
That's already team foul number 5 on North Carolina. The Shocks only 3. Xavier McDaniel, maybe he can get going. He's got 8 points on the night, and it's again a 10-point game.
Wichita State going to sort of a containment press, 2-2-1.
Carl Papke.
Carl made a foolish play.
McDaniel, good rebounding position.
Great play.
Oh, great athletic play. But is he okay? He is. Kind of went into the cheerleaders, but he's all right. Henry Carl at the other end. Carl Papke trying to keep it alive. McDaniel right through his hands. Buzz Peterson the loose one. Baseball pass ahead. Steve Hale. He'll be at the line. Foul on Carl Papke. Said that's his fourth.
Well, it's the sports. It's too bad because his maturity had really helped in here. But they simply didn't run back on defense. But if you're going to foul, that's kind of foul. Don't let them have a three-point basket. Mike Arline's coming in the ball game, and I think Mike might do the job here. He's very quick, very active, very aggressive basketball player, and he may not play with too much awe of North Carolina.
Here comes little Mike in the ball game for the first time. He'll replace Papke, who has to check out with those 4 fouls. It's interesting, Wichita State has 4 players than they have room for on the bench, so they go too deep on their bench. Mike Arline had to climb over the other guys just to get in the game. But here he is.
Well, that's an old-fashioned bench. You see chairs nowadays. This is the first time that I've seen an actual bench.
And all of the pom-poms all around us here. 15,000 of them.
First free throw miss by Hale this year.
But he got the second one. That will give him 9 points on this evening.
All right, let's see Mike Arline. Good. Aubrey backs this dribble up out of the trouble.
And we had a whistle before that shot. Contact and a foul down low. It is on North Carolina.
Xavier is so quick. He just must turn over and ball fake and take Martin to the basket. Martin can't guard him if he'll do this. Watch him trap out of the zone.
The foul was on Buzz Peterson, only his first. McDaniel received the pass, bumped, knocked it down.
Herbert Schott made a nice pass along the baseline.
Brad Doherty found his position on the floor and got it to go.
Well, you can't work that hard on the offensive end and then give them up that cheaply on the other end of the court. That was a very big basket in this ball game.
Kenny Smith should have had the steal. He anticipated perfectly. Sherrod left baseline. Doherty a rebound.
You have to run back on defense.
Brad Doherty was only 4 points. He's Carolina's leading scorer, averaging 19 and a half a game, but of course he's been in foul trouble. Here he is again, though.
Xavier has to lead him in down low. He let Doherty just position him down too deep.
Doherty, kind of an interesting story. When he was a freshman for North Carolina, he was 16 years old. He's only 19 now, just turned 19. He's already a junior.
Well, he's going to be a great player. Already is a great player.
Santos on the block. That's a goaltend. Give the 2 to Gus Santos. Brad Doherty goaltending on the play. Joe Wolf.
Let's take a look. If it's on his downward arc,
just barely. Well, it was.
Just barely. Well, that cuts the lead to 11. Here comes Rod Washington in the ball game.
First time we've seen him this evening. Rodney Washington, the 6'6" freshman out of Fort Worth, Texas.
Well, if he can hold his own and just give Gus a couple of minutes of rest, it'll be most helpful here.
Mike Arline, a nice job to make North Carolina inbound it again. We've got exactly half of the second half still to play, just inside 10 minutes to go. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's really an historic ball game. Wichita State, North Carolina playing for the first time ever. McDaniel stepped in, took it away. He'll handle right up the floor, pull up from 10 and get it. Instead, he's waking up. He's got a dozen. Now the Shockers as close as they've been in some time, down 9.
Well, I've said this before, but one of the great qualities that Xavier McDaniel has, if he's not shooting the ball in the basket, he continues to play and just works himself into a rhythm. And that's why he's an outstanding player.
First foul on Mike Arline. You've been seeing some of the close-ups. You might notice the Wichita State uniforms are a little different tonight. All 3 teams in the tournament receive uniforms from Suntory, the sponsor. But Wichita State will wear them only in these 2 games and not anymore. Kenny Smith, deep in the left corner, short all the way. Rodney Washington, his first rebound.
Well, I like the way that Mike Arline's played. There's another one. Boy, when you have that rhythm, you know it's going in.
Well, it took him a while, but McDaniel's got it now. 14 points, 10 of those in the second half. Hale. He goes to double figures with 11.
Well, the transition to defense has not been good. You have to, after you score, you have to get back and get your man covered out. You can't let Hale have the ball. Watch Henry.
McDaniel's
almost at it.
He's fought his way inside. And it'll be Carolina ball. Curtis Hunter checking back in the ball game. Gus Santos also back in for Wichita State.
Yeah, Gene Smithson accomplished what he wanted to. He just wanted to give Gus Santos a little bit of a breather. Good next receiver pressure by Henry Carr.
Still plenty of time in this game. 8:33.
Oh, Wichita State's come back with a lot of fight. You know, in every game they've lost this year, there's never been a time that they've quit. And you build on spirit and attitude.
Buzz Peterson. Very nice baseline move. A lot of players neglect that baseline area, but Buzz Peterson certainly did. He's got 8 points.
Well, that's awfully good position to have down low. They've gone to zone. Zone takes X out of the game a little bit. They can handle him a lot better than that.
Ted, how does Dean Smith signal defenses? Does he leave that up to his guard or what?
Basically, after any miss, they go back in man for man.
McDaniel, right baseline.
Stretched his range just a little bit, about 2 feet out of his range.
Joe Wolf. Mike Arline at 5'11", stuck in there for a rebound. Shock hustling up the floor. Bounce pass down low, McDaniel. Felt the pressure, kicked it back outside. Arline, 18-footer, spun out. And it's going to be Carolina ball. Gene Smithson unhappy with that call.
Well, I would be unhappy if I were Gene Smithson. Take a look. I think they could have called a foul, but certainly didn't knock it out.
Carolina ball when we come back. They lead it by 11. Welcoming you back to Osaka. 7:27 to go here in the second half. Carolina leading the Shockers 61-50. Brad Doherty, 5-second call. Shocker ball.
Well, they've managed to sustain their energy pretty well here for 12 minutes. Gene Smithson hasn't had the luxury of being able to substitute a whole lot. Let's hope that they can sustain at least 3 or 4 minutes here, and then he can use timeouts to rest them.
McDaniel fading away, tough shot, but almost got it.
Henry reached over, but at least it's a great aggressive play.
I said that'll make it 4 personal fouls on Henry Carr, so a decision here for Gene Smithson.
I don't think you have a decision. You're 11 down. You have to play.
Wichita State, not a very big ball club to begin with, compared to the likes of North Carolina. Gene really can't take the 6'9" man out at this point.
Well, you wouldn't think so. You know, the game's now. The backdoor play.
Down low, Kenny Smith was hammered pretty good. And,
well, he baited Mike Arline. Again, North Carolina might run that play 10 times in a ball game.
Second foul on Arline. There's a look at Dean Smith.
That play's been a part of his coaching repertoire for a long time.
You know, he's only won 77% of his ball games in Carolina.
Well, he's had a great record. That man's had a great record right there, Gene Smithson.
Gene Smithson has won something like 71% of his ball games. Kenny Smith at the line. That's his first point of the second half. He's got 8 on the night. Kenny Smith would have gone, was invited to the Olympic basketball trials, but couldn't go because of that wrist injury we talked about in the first half.
Well, he had surgery, and they think that it's perfectly cleared up now.
You know something else about Kenny Smith? Remember a couple of years ago, Pepsi sponsored the hot shot competition for kids across the country? Kenny Smith won that competition. There's another guy.
State handled that trap beautifully. They passed the ball ahead of the trap. Now they're going full court. You have to keep it out of the guard's hands in the middle, though.
Aubrey now with 14 points on the other end. Doherty a miss, and he's over the back.
That's the 4th foul. North Carolina has a great basketball team. They have a size. I think if there's anything missing, their front line is big and strong, but not terribly quick. I think there's some teams that could bother them a little bit. But their quickness of their backcourt covers up for a lot of that. You have a player like Kenny Smith. He can cover up any lack of quickness that you have.
Buzz Peterson back in the ballgame for Carolina, as well as Joe Wolf. And it'll be Wichita State at the line. Rodney Washington also back in the ballgame for Wichita State. We'll have Rodney at the line.
Well, all Rodney needs to do is extend a little bit. Elbow above the eye level here. Then he won't shoot that flat shot.
Only a 43% free throw shooter. Snapped that one in pretty good. First point of the night for Rodney. Averaging just about 4.5 points
Big free
a
throw
game
for this freshman coming in under these circumstances. Knocked this one in.
Looked very confident that time. Now the Shockers gambling on defense. It almost paid off. Joe Wolf travel. Gets it across the timeline, but no call. Steve Hare.
Well, they vacated the goal.
Carolina by 11. 65-54. 6.5 minutes still to play here in the second half.
Wants to move the ball. Get the ball rotated. Rodney in the middle of the zone is not as accomplished as you will be in time. You need a good passer in the zone.
Buzz Peterson, the drive. Floating right-hander, tough shot.
Yeah, those were two big baskets. Wichita State had a chance to regain momentum. Those two baskets put them in some kind of trouble. We may see four corners pretty soon here.
Well, just that quickly, it's again a 13-point ball game, and it's going to be that time. Oh, McDaniel. Super move down low. 16
That's what we're talking about. He's so quick, he needs to drive them more. Well, it's great to see him come back in this ball game. He's such a fine player. I think one of the nation's very best.
There it is again. Buzz Peterson, he's got a dozen. Well, they love that play, and they run it so well.
Well, in playing denial pressure down low, when you're playing it on the baseline, you absolutely can't lose sight of your man.
Arline on the drive.
I think Mike Arline's done a very fine job in this game getting the ball moved.
That's not bad either. The icing on the cake. First two of the night for Michael Arline.
Well, he might have found himself some playing time here with this performance. He came in the last ball game against the University of Nebraska-Omaha with a very fine performance. Okay, here we're seeing four corner. They've gone to it.
Ted, you've seen this so many times. Why don't we talk about what Dean Smith wants to do when he goes for it?
Well, he's trying to bait you. He's trying to keep the middle open. What you need to do in this is not let the ball get to the middleman.
Oh, heck of a pass by Kenny Smith.
And great position by Gus Santos. What he's trying to do is to get the ball in the middle of the court, penetrate, cause you to collapse and kick off to the big men sliding. The way to play it is that you have to protect the basket. 4 minutes is a long time. You're only down 11. All you have to do is get 5 or 6 possessions to get the ball in the game, back in the ball game.
And it'll be Wichita State at the line when we come back. 4:31 still to play in this one. Our score, North Carolina 69, Wichita State 58. Back in a minute. Osaka, 4 minutes and 31 seconds remaining to play here in regulation. North Carolina leading Wichita State at this juncture, 69-58. And as we mentioned, it'll be Wichita State at the line.
Well, again, an opportunity for Gus Santos here to close it in less than 10. And as I say, psychologically, that's important. You get it down into one digit, that you just think a little bit different. So these are two big ones for Gus.
Gus is 76% free throw shooter this season. That'll give him double figures now with 10 points, and the band strikes up. I thought it was getting quiet in here. They just play and play and play. I don't know if they're getting paid, but if they are, they're earning their money tonight.
Well, the rules of basketball a little bit different to them, and they're not accustomed to college rules, but they've had a great deal of enthusiasm, and they've seen a great basketball game.
Two big free throws by Santos, cuts the margin to 9. That's a foul on our line.
Well, he puts Wolf at the line. Wolf's a pretty good free throw shooter.
That shot at Gene Smith, the telling part of the story. Third foul on our line.
Mark, I want to mention here in just a minute.
Let me correct that. That's the foul was on McDaniel, his third. Go ahead.
North Carolina in their four-corner offense like to get the ball to Kenny Smith in the middle of the court and penetrate by his man and get you to slide off and support and kick it to the big guy sliding down. Let's watch it next time. The thing you want to try to do is to keep it out of Kenny Smith's hand in the middle. But the big thing Wichita State needs is a score right now.
Joe Wolf, a big ball game for North Carolina.
They'll go 1-3-1 zone. They'll gap that zone, try to make you throw over and around. Mike's going to have to step up in the gap.
Well, with Doherty and Wolf, too, at 6'10 and 6'11, that makes the inside of that zone pretty tough. McDaniel, sweet shot. He's got 18. 14 of those have come here in the second half.
Okay, now they'll go four corners now. You're going to have to try to keep it out of Kenny Smith's hand in the middle.
You know, so many people accuse Dean Smith of just delaying when he goes four corners, but it's not a pure delay. That's a steal for Carl Papke and a foul on Kenny Smith.
I don't like that call. You have a breakaway. It's a piddling call. You take 2 points away.
And that's exactly the point Gene Smith is making.
I believe if it's a real serious foul, but he had an automatic 2 points on the other end, and he had earned that right for those 2 points. Well, Carl Papke has to do what a senior has to do in this situation. He's a good technique shooter, needs to get him down.
Carl, 5 points on the evening. Papke has had his shooting woes, of course, this season, but he is Wichita State's #2 rebounder. A lot of people don't realize that.
Well, he's come into this ball game in the second half and performed very well until he ran into foul trouble. But boy, that was a big miss. Had a chance to cut it to 7. Now we're going to see North Carolina.
Down low, Buzz Peterson still can't find
Wichita
a handle.
State doing a great job at scrambling.
Papke, super job. Down on the floor, got the ball ahead to Michael Arline.
Boys, a lot of time, a lot of time.
3:22 and counting. Down low, McDaniel foul.
All right.
He'll get 2 free throws. It's on Wolf. That's his 4th, Ted.
I still would like to see X turn over and ball faking to go to the basket. He's so quick. You do them a favor when you turn over and shoot it in their face. In this case, they fouled, but those big guys can cause you some trouble. Well, Gene Smith has to be proud of the effort of this Wichita State Shockers. They've done a great job competing, getting back into this ball game.
They have really given Carolina something to think about in the second half. Of course, they might think about that as well. McDaniel, he'll get another foul in the act of shooting. Missed free throws. We sound like a broken record, but it's just so big.
Well, it's cost Wichita State every game this year. Good free throwing would have had them in a position to be undefeated. Good reaction by Mike Arline.
Kenny Smith with a big lead. He'll back it out.
North Carolina will shoot nothing but layups now.
They lead it by 7. 71-64, 3:05.
Trap in the corner. Good move.
Smith splits the defense, dishes to Wolf. If you're Wichita State, what do you do defensively when Smith goes
you support off those big men, make them kick it to the corner and try to trap them in the corner. Right here, you need to make them stay on the sideline.
That's a foul on our line.
It's a foul, but it's a great play on our line's part. They have to take some chances now.
3rd foul on Michael. Both teams in the bonus.
Basically, in the fourth corner, you want to make them push the ball down the sideline here. They can't hurt you down the sideline, but they can in the middle of the court. Well, it was a great reaction. Mike Arline came over and made a beautiful reaction.
Back live, Steve Hale at the line, looking for his 14th point.
Well, he's the wrong guy to have at the line. He's their best free throw shooter. But, you know, when you're trailing with 2 minutes to go, you can't be too picky about it. Whoever has the ball, you have to stop the clock and put them at the line.
Steve Hale really bought himself some playing time last year during that period that Kenny Smith was injured, and impressed Dean Smith to the point that
North Carolina going to their trap defense.
Happy down on the other end. McDaniel right there to get it, but lost it to Joe Wolf.
Xavier dropped the ball down too low.
Pass ahead, Buzz Peterson. Hale wide open down low. Tried to draw the foul, got the bucket instead. Steve Hale, 17 points. The average is only 8 a game, Ted.
Now Gene Smith wants a timeout. Gene was very unhappy that they didn't get back on defense.
Ted, we'll keep it right here. This timeout coming with 2:19 remaining to play in the ball game. North Carolina has edged back out into a 75-64 lead. It's a little bit reminiscent of the final minute of the first half. Wichita State had that lapse, allowed North Carolina 2 or 3 quick buckets, and that was so big. And I got the sense we're seeing the same thing here the last couple trips down the floor.
Wichita State has done a good job of pressuring. Their reactions are excellent. Their effort couldn't be better, except when you commit yourself down the court to trap, you have to sprint back and protect the basket. I think if there's been any weakness in their defense, it's the reaction from in the front court or back court into the front court. I think that and the inability to make the free throws has cost them a chance to win this ball game. Their effort and their spirit overall has been good, though. I think there's some really positive things that have happened here. Now the point is, I don't know whether they can win the ball game or not. North Carolina's awfully good in holding it. But if they'll continue to battle the next 2 minutes, they can walk off this court with a great deal of pride and their heads high and be able to build on the future.
Checking the team free throw shooting, Carolina is 17 of 20, Wichita State 8 of 19. Enough said. Back live, Shocker ball.
They've gone to the trap. Our line's handling very well.
Aubrey Sherrod, good ball fake. Tried to get it off the glass, could not. Kenny Smith. Now look for Carolina to back it out, maybe. Inadvertently kicked out of bounds, Carolina ball. Stopping the clock, 1:58 to go. Heels lead it by 11.
I've been amazed that Wichita State has managed to sustain their effort. Xavier's played the entire game. And Gus Santos and Henry Carr have played a great deal of the game. Well, they've spread it out now. Mike Arline's going to try to keep it to Smith in the corner.
Brad Doherty kind of lost his grip on the ball. He went for the dunk but missed it, but he'll be at the free throw line. Fouled by Henry Carr.
Well, Wichita State only has one timeout left, and Gene will have to use that wisely in the last dozen.
Again, I need to correct it. It was McDaniel on the foul. 4th foul on X. Here's Brad Doherty. 68% free throw shooter, looking for his 7th point. He's a junior out of Black Mountain, North Carolina.
Well, it's important that Wichita State in the last minute and 40 seconds here plays with all their heart to the very end. They can't get discouraged at this point, even though it looks like it'd take a miracle to win the game.
Gene Smithson will take another timeout. Again, we'll keep it here. This timeout coming with 1:38 remaining to play in the basketball game. North Carolina continuing to lead it 77-64, but Ted, let's follow up on the point you were making about not letting up. The ball game seemingly out of hand at this point with only a minute and a half to go, but Wichita State has to turn right around and play Arizona State in a matter of something like 15 hours from now, and the effort that they are able to sustain in this ball game is going to reflect a lot how they're going to take the floor in Tokyo against the Sun Devils.
Well, there's a difference. They're all kind of losses, but they're losses that you can grow as a result of. They have nothing to be ashamed of in this ball game, but they're only 13 down at this point. If they could close it a little bit or not let it get out of hand, they could walk off the court feeling that they could be a very good basketball team. If they let up and become discouraged in the last minute and 30 seconds, well, it can have a harmful effect on them. And I know Gene Smithson is sensing that, and I think that's why he used his last timeout, to encourage them to play the very hardest they can until this game's over.
There's a look at the Tar Heels coming back out on the floor. Dean Smith. Only 2 men have played on an NCAA championship team and later coached one. He's one. Bobby Knight's the other.
Well, both 2 of the greatest coaches in the country. They've had great records, and they do it the right way. You have to be proud of them if you're been a member of that profession. He didn't have a timeout left. That's a technical foul. If you call excessive timeouts, which he did in this case, that's a technical foul.
It was Gus Santos calling the timeout that Wichita State did not have. So,
well, I'll tell you what North Carolina did. They'd been zoning every out-of-bounds play. And then all of a sudden they went to pressure man-to-man. It's a very good tactic on his part.
And as a result, it's going to be Steve Hale at the line for North Carolina shooting the technical free throw. And, of course, it'll be Carolina ball as well. Both teams have gone to the benches, so we've got another timeout here as we prepare to play the final 1 minute and 37 seconds of this basketball game. Score has not changed. Tar Heels continue to lead it by 13, 77-64.
I want to mention this. Gus Santos couldn't find anybody open. And that's what you've been schooled time and time again. If you can't get the ball in bounds, call a timeout. And when that becomes a part of you, you know, you don't think, hey, I don't have any timeouts left. You'd like to hope that you would all the time, but that's a perfectly normal reaction, what he did.
Well, instinctively, it's the first thing you do. And you see the Shocker cheerleaders. They, of course, were part of the...
Japanese fans love the pyramid.
They were part of the official traveling party, and let me tell you, they've been a big part of the show. The cheerleaders for all 3 teams, they are big. All the American women, the Japanese really react to them.
Yeah, they've enjoyed that. Well, I don't know why Steve Hale is getting 2 free throws. It was not called by the coach. Well, I can't believe Steve Hale, who had not missed a free throw going into this game, missed both of those.
He's missed 3 in the ball game.
Maybe it's some sort of justice.
I think it's the blue floor. But it'll be Hale inbounding here at half court. 1:37 to go in the game.
75 seconds. Awfully close to 5 seconds again.
Shockers double team.
Great reaction.
Henry Carr. He'll go and lay it in.
Too bad. Henry made a great reaction. He had Stephen on his mind all the way.
But he came out of it with nothing. Kenny Smith. He'll pull it out.
Well, that was shoot nothing but a layup now.
Or one of these. Foul on Henry. That's his 5th. He'll foul out of the ball game with 1:21 to go. Overall, not really a polished performance by Henry Carr, but this was a challenge for him. 6'9", only a sophomore, playing against the tall trees of North Carolina, and for the most part, he was right in there.
Oh, I was very proud of Henry Carr tonight. I thought he carried the fight to North Carolina. They had more experienced players than Henry, but he took the action to them, and had he been able to convert a few free throws to take advantage of the good drives, could have been a real factor in this ball game. But he's growing with every game, I think. I think by the end of the year he could be a very solid basketball player.
Joe Wolf, only a 56% free throw shooter. That time 50% as he got 1 and 2, 16 points on the night. Shock hustle it up the floor, 1:16 to go.
Well, North Carolina going to zone.
Brad Doherty knocks it out of bounds. Shocker ball.
Well, it's a tough time, and you want to take your time in playing against the zone, but you only have a minute and 10 seconds to go, and you have a tendency to force things a little bit. North Carolina going to their trap.
Aubrey Sherrod tried to split the defense. Carolina forcing the turnover. Now they'll back it out.
Well, Gene Smith wanted a foul, and I sort of thought that they might have grabbed Aubrey. I thought Aubrey actually split the trap pretty well.
Gus Santos stepped in, stole the long bounce pass. He'll try 10. The tip is good.
Great tip by Xavier.
McDaniel now 21 points. That makes him the number 6 all-time scorer at Wichita State. He passes Cliff Levingston. Gus saved it to McDaniel. 30 seconds to go.
The guy you won't shoot it right there.
And it'll be Sherrod
Gus
at the
Santos
line.
is hurt. He has a knee problem.
Oh, no. Down on the floor. Well, as you look at the replay, but Gus Santos is down, holding the left knee. Well, and he is in real pain.
Well, this would be a real blow to Wichita State because Gus has started to play some good basketball now. He made a great effort. I think probably, I didn't see him when he came down, but he was hustling to get a ball on the out-of-bounds plate. Had a beautiful effort throwing it back in court, and he may have landed wrong on it. Chief Kaufman, Dr. Kaufman right on top of it.
Boy, and it comes with only 23 seconds left in the game. What a shame. Working on the left leg, trainer Doug Vanderslee is in there. Giving the officials a little what for.
Well, I think there's a tendency. John DeBrow's from the Missouri Valley, and I think in a game you get emotional and that sort of thing, and you sort of want that hometown guy to do a little something for you. But you know what? John DeBrow is a veteran basketball official, and he's proud to be a member of the Missouri Valley Conference. But you know, you call him like you see him, and I know I've been there a long time, and in the Big 8 Conference, you go on the road, you kind of want that Big 8 guy to give you a little bit of an edge, and yet they're schooled to do what they should do, and that's to call it just the way this season.
We are across the court from where Gus Santos continues to lie on his back. They've been working on that left leg. Now they're going to get him up on his feet. Oh, Gus is really favoring that left leg. He gets a nice hand from the crowd here in Osaka. Well, what a shame. We're guessing it's the left knee. That was the first thing he grabbed when he went down.
Well, he has a real pro there working with him, so they should be able to check it out and find out what's the problem.
Carl Papke is back in the ball game, replacing Gus. 23 seconds to go. Sherrod at the line. Aubrey got the second one. That'll give him 15 points. Again, we're just, as the ball goes out of bounds, speculating on Gus's injury. He grabbed the knee. We're not sure it's a knee injury. It could have been something as simple as a cramp.
It might be a cramp. I hope that it is. 5 seconds off close.
Ball ahead. Buzz Peterson lays it in off the glass. That gives him 14 points. 10 seconds to go in the game. It's going to be Carolina. McDaniel down low. Stopping the clock. The foul with 5 seconds.
Well, he took it to the hole. He did the best thing he could do, and that's to try to draw a foul.
Again, stay tuned following the game. We'll wrap this one up. We'll name our Big Cheese player of the game and talk about the Sun Devils. McDaniel.
Gus is holding his calf. He very well could have a cramp. Let's hope that that's what it is.
Well, Doug Vanderslee was, you know, stretching his foot out, trying to stretch that calf muscle. So, boy, I sure hope that's what it was. Again, another foul, stopping the clock with only 2 seconds.
I know a lot of people say, well, why would you foul? You're going to lose the game. But you play each game to the very end. What you do is to try to get the most out of this game that you possibly can.
Warren Bud Martin back in the ballgame for North Carolina, and Curtis Bailey will check in for the first time for Wichita State, so he'll remember the 2 seconds he played against North Carolina.
Xavier's out of the game. I don't think Xavier's hurt. I think he's exhausted.
Well, let's hope he's not too exhausted. Wolf kicks it outside. Buzz Peterson hands the ball to the official, and that's it. Our final score here tonight, North Carolina 80, Wichita State 69. The Tar Heels now 6-0. Wichita State 3-5, but they've got to regroup and turn right around and play Arizona State. We'll be back shortly to talk about that ball game and wrap this one up. Stay tuned. Osaka, where the final score tonight, North Carolina